Привет моим дорогим ученикам и всем, кто просто заглянул. Давайте поговорим на тему страха перед общественным мнением на английском. Я подготовила пересказ книги «The Courage to be Disliked». Это бестселлер, в котором обсуждается то, как перестать пытаться всем угодить и стать свободным и счастливым. Текст адаптирован для уровня B1, а для сложных слов будет показан перевод. Можете следить за текстом или просто слушать, как вам больше нравится. Давайте начнем. Today, we are going to dive deep into a massive bestseller from Japan called The Courage to be Disliked. The book is written as a conversation. Imagine a young, unhappy man visiting a wise philosopher over 5 nights. The philosopher shares the ideas of Alfred Adler, a famous psychologist. Let's start from the first night. The philosopher tells the young man something very controversial. Trauma does not exist. Wait, what? We all know bad things happen to people. But Adler's psychology says that your past does not decide your future. We do not suffer from the shock of our past experiences. Instead, we give those experiences a meaning that fits our present goals. The young man gives a vivid example. He says, I have a friend who has been locked in his room for years. Every time he tries to step outside, he feels sick. He has a panic attack. It is because of a bad experience with his parents when he was a child. But the philosopher shakes his head. He says, no, your friend is not staying inside because he is afraid. He is creating the fear because he wants to stay inside. Why would he do that? Maybe if he stays inside, his parents will worry about him and give him special attention. If he goes out into the world, he becomes just a normal person and he might fail. So, he is manufacturing fear to reach his goal of staying safe. Your past does not control you. You choose your life right now. On the second night, the young man makes a sad confession. He says, I hate myself. This is an emotional moment because many of us criticize ourselves. We look in the mirror and only see our shortcomings. But the philosopher asks a powerful question. Why did you decide to hate yourself? Adler says that all problems in life are interpersonal relationship problems. The only reason we hate ourselves is that we are afraid of other people. We are afraid that they will reject us or hurt us. If you tell yourself, I'm ugly, I'm not smart, then you have a perfect excuse not to talk to people. You choose to dislike yourself to avoid the pain of being disliked by others. Even loneliness needs other people. You can only feel lonely if you feel an exclusion from the community around you. If you were the only human in the universe, loneliness would not exist. This brings us to the third night, which is the most impactful part of the book. It is about a concept called the separation of tasks. Many of us live our lives trying to satisfy the expectations of others. We want our parents to be proud. We want our boss to praise us. We want society to accept us. But Adler says, stop. You must drop the need for recognition. If you live to please others, you are living someone else's life, not your own. How do we fix this? By asking one simple question. Whose task is this? Let's look at an example from the book. Imagine a child who refuses to do his homework. Most parents will yell, punish, or force the child to study. They might say, I'm doing this for your own good. But let's ask, whose task is studying? Who receives the final result? The child. If the child doesn't study, the child will have a hard time in the future. It is not the parents' tasks. When parents force the child, they are intruding on someone else's task. This always causes a collision and angry feelings. Actually, when parents say it is for your own good, they are often lying to themselves. They want the child to study to look good to society, to show off to other parents, or to feel in control. The child feels this lie, and that is why the child rebels. So, what should the parent do? The parent should tell the child, I am here to support you when you need help. But they must not intervene directly. You must separate your tasks from other people's tasks. No one else can change you, and you should not try to change anyone else. Now you might think, if I don't care about anyone else's expectations, won't I be totally alone? In the fourth and fifth nights, the philosopher explains that separating tasks is not about pushing people away. It is actually the departure point for healthy relationship. To have good relationship, we must stop looking at people as if they're above us or below us. We must build horizontal relationships where everyone is equal. Because of this, Adlerian psychology says something very surprising. You must not praise people and you must not rebuke or scold them. Think about it. When a boss praises you saying, good job, they're speaking to you from a higher position. It creates a hierarchy. If you constantly seek praise, you will start to manipulate your behavior just to get a reward. You will be acting like a trained dog. Instead of praise, we should simply say, thank you, or I'm glad you helped me. Treat people as equals. As we finish our journey through this book, we learn the biggest lesson of all. Why are people unhappy? It's not because they have a bad past. It's not because they lack competence or skills. It is simply because they lack courage. To be truly free, you must have the courage to be disliked. When you stop worrying about what others think, when you stop trying to live up to their expectations, some people will definitely dislike you, and that is okay. It is proof that you are living freely. It is proof that you are finally living your life. As Alfred Adler said, the courage to be happy also includes the courage to be disliked. Вы только что послушали 1069 английских слов. Некоторые идеи в книге мне показались действительно controversial, противоречивые. Например, про то, что не нужно угождать другим людям. Мне кажется, тут нужно искать здравый баланс, потому что, с одной стороны, конечно, плохо, если тобой манипулируют и вынуждают поступиться своими ценностями. Но, с другой стороны, вообще-то делать добро людям, я считаю, хорошо, а не плохо. И в какой-то степени желание угодить – неотъемлемая часть близких отношений. Как вы думаете? А теперь давайте обсудим интересные слова. Hierarchy – красивое слово, похожее и на русское иерархия. Только нужно обратить внимание, что в русском в конце «х», а здесь «к». Hierarchy. Rebuke and scold – это отчитывать, делать выговор, но это не так часто используется. Более распространенный вариант – to tell off – отчитывать. He told her off – он ее отчитал. Departure. Возможно, встречали, например, departures board – табло вылета. Show off – хвастаться. Эти фразы используются часто. Loneliness – одиночество. В английском два слова для одиночества – loneliness and solitude. Но solitude – это когда ты просто один, и не обязательно это плохо, а вот loneliness – это грустное чувство. Confession – признание. I have a confession to make. мне нужно кое в чем признаться. Praise – похвала. Важно не путать с prize – приз. И последнее слово live up to. Тут нужно не забыть частичку to. Это соответствовать. Live up to expectations. Соответствовать ожиданиям. Итак, мы только что познакомились с книгой The Courage to be Disliked, поработали с аудированием и словарным запасом. В следующий раз поговорим о книге Atomic Habits – атомные привычки.